Such a warm day, but such a meaningful day. Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor once again meeting with you, my heroes and heroes' spouses, and a special day with the SK group at the innovation actually brought the largest investment in Georgia. So Chairman Che is in town. Well, it's a warm day, but it's a meaningful day. So SK Chairman, when I communicate with him and then found out the first thing he wants to do is to meet Korean War veterans, his heroes and my heroes and our heroes. So it is such a wonderful morning. We appreciate Chairman Che is actually coming down and then meet with you. I want to open with my orange story, but you already know. The Korean was such a meaningful war. However, we lost over 37,000 lives, American lives, and then other 16 other countries, 15 other countries. It's a brave young man and woman, and I was particularly commemorate today with 740 Korean War heroes right here who lost their precious life during the Korean War. So I'd like to go ahead and start it. I'd like to invite Reverend William Stover, Korean War veteran, and deliver the invocation.
As we join our hearts together, let us observe a moment of silence. Almighty God, in that time of quiet silence, you alone heard the voices of 740 Georgians that paid the supreme sacrifice, and they live eternally with you in the heavens. We are blessed to be here this day. It is mindful of the fact that we have that ability because so many answered the call to help defend a nation that practically was unknown to us, even the location. And the response was there to help the peoples of South Korea defend themselves against impending invasion and communist rule. We remember not only the 740 Georgians that paid the supreme sacrifice, but we remember their families and the scar that has left for them through the eternity of time. Lord, it is because of your involvement that we have a great relationship yet with the community of South Korea and here with America, remaining a strong ally. And we are blessed with that relationship, that it is so strong. As each of us walks in our daily life, take a moment to give thanks to God and to those who have served their country, that we need to refortify in this nation that we live. But freedom is not free. There are many who have paid the price, and they live eternally with you. Continue to watch over us and bless each one, not only here, but the families that are represented, that we remain together allies with South Korea, and the United States remain strong, because of those who have given of their lives, their time to serve, for they have paid the price, that we cherish our freedoms not only this day but every day. Continue to watch over us as we travel the roadways of life, and will give you thanks for the blessings each and every day. These things we ask and pray to you, Almighty God. Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to, before we do the national anthem, I'd like to call the names of our heroes. So you don't have to stand and hold your applause until we I finish. Glenn Blay. Thank you very much. Norman Bull. Meryl Durance. Stan. Stratton Frank. Thomas Gump. Ben Malcolm. Tony Martin. John Pennington. Ronnie Rector. Jack Robinson. Boban Blum. William Stubber. Henry Taylor. Robert Taylor. Anyone else on this? Thank you very much. We have a group of VIP today this morning. They don't want to miss this opportunity. Thank you one more time. Obviously, Chairman K1K from SK Group, Ambassador Young, Andrew Young. Actually, we'll provide a better seat here right there. You're at the stand. So, thank you for coming, Ambassador. And I'm not sure, do we have a secretary wrapping up program? Sonny Deriso, former chairman of Georgia Chamber of Commerce, Major General Tom Harden, Commissioner Mike Robbie, General Larry Ellis, Jun Choi, SK Group, Yvonne Kim, SK Group, Stanley Sen, Korean American Medical Association, Rob Truma, Andy Young Foundation, and Yoon Chul Kim, Korean American Association, Hong Ji Lee, Korean American Chamber of Commerce, and Park Hyung-won, the chairman of the Overseas Korean Trade Association, Kelly Che, president of the Korean American Women's Business Association, and these Judy Pincher, our hero, another hero. She's doing all the hard work with Korean War Veterans Association. Thank you very much. You ready? I'd like to invite Korean American speaker, Duluth, Georgia, came here all the way down there to provide good music and national anthems. We're going to start with the Korean national anthem and then USA national anthem. Please rise.
해물과 색두 Say, can you see by the dawn's early light, walk so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, blue spotlights and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch, words so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the buffers stinging air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, set us that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite General Tom Cardin. I'd like to invite the General Tom Cardin to Pledge of Allegiance, lead us at the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain stand.
Thank you very much. If you're able, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The American Korean Friendship Society was established in 1996 to strengthen the unique relationship between the United States and Republic of Korea. It's not government institution, it is a people's organization and non-profit, non-political, non-biased. We just support the relationship and try hard to strengthen the relationship. We have chairman of immediate past chairman, General Larry Ellis. General Larry Ellis served 8 years as a chairman of the society, and he has done a marvelous job. The current chairman, Frank Blake, is in Boston. He's 103 years old. The mom, hope that the ambulance is going through, but his mom is in Yale, and so he cannot make back from Boston in time. So I'd like to invite General Larry Ellis to give us the welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny, and good morning. On behalf of the American Korean Friendship Society and our chairman, Frank Blake, I welcome our Korean War veterans. I salute you, our veterans, our government leaders, and other distinguished guests. As we approach Memorial Day next Monday, it is a tradition and it is appropriate that we lay wreaths and flowers to honor the military service of the members who gave their lives in defense of our country and for the values they hold so dear. This morning, we are here to honor the brave soldiers who made the supreme sacrifice during the Korean War, and to recognize our Korean veterans who stood before you this morning, here today. As Sonny Park mentioned, the American Korean Friendship Society is pleased to coordinate today's wreath-laying ceremony. As stated in our program, the American Korean Friendship Society is a non-profit, non-partisan organization that was established to further and strengthen the special relationship between the peoples of the United States and the peoples of Korea, South Korea. This special relationship was formed more than 70 years ago when North Korea attacked South Korea. After tens of thousands of Americans and Allied casualties, including, as we've heard here, the 740 from here in Georgia, and after incredible acts of heroism and sacrifice, an armistice was signed in 1953. The armistice resulted in the cessation of hostilities, but a final peace settlement still has not been achieved. Now, the Republic of South Korea, with over 51 million people, enjoys freedom and prosperity. South Korea has Asia's fourth largest gross national product and is one of the world's top 10 economies, and you can see that in your program. South Korea remains steadfast as an ally of the United States. We fought together shoulder to shoulder in the Korean War. South Korea responded to America's call as a coalition partner when we needed help in Vietnam, when we needed help in Iraq, when we needed help in Afghanistan, and help in a number of other peacekeeping operations around the world. Today, our two nations continue to stand as allies and as friends. So, we come together this morning with the purpose of honoring our Korean War veterans and continuing the legacy of those before us. And to recognize our veterans who sacrificed so much for freedom. Thank you.
Two distinguished gentlemen here is Sam Park as state representative during the state of Georgia. We're so proud of him as here. And the former U.S. Attorney of the Northern District, the B.J. Pack, is here. Thank you very much for coming. Every time we do event veterans, there's always somebody. You think other than all this, but there's a man help us all the time, and every time just jump in. It's just a matter of one phone call. It's just a great servant for the state of Georgia. I'd like to invite the Commissioner Mike Roby, Georgia Department of Veterans Service.
Okay. General Ellis is a little more coordinated than I am. He can hold it and talk at the same time. I have to have it in the stand. But to our distinguished guests, our elected officials, to these men and women that are in uniform today, our veterans, and especially our Korean veterans, it's an honor to be with you this morning. Thank you for the invitation to join you today to recognize and honor the memory of those who served in the Korean War. It is an honor to join you all and the American Korean Friendship Society as we honor and celebrate the service of the many brave men and women who served during the Korean War. Just over 70 years ago, the first mission of the United Nations saw service members from 21 different countries, including the United States, come together to fight for peace for the citizens of South Korea. Together, they formed a powerful alliance and an unyielding force to combat the spread of communism. Their goal was to defend the independence, safeguard other nations from attack, and protect the freedom and liberty of South Korea citizens. For many Americans, the Korean War is often called the Forgotten War. But for those who served and their families, it will never be forgotten. It is a proud and painful memory. Those who answered the call to action faced a difficult conflict. They answered the call to defend a country they had never known before, a people they have never met before. But they answered the call to serve and did so courageously. They faced the obvious threat of combat and being fired upon from heavy arms, from the constantly shifting battle lines, the hills and valleys of the Korean countryside, and changing weather all presented unique challenges.
Icon of a civil rights movement. Andrew Young is U.S. Ambassador United Nations, and he is such a good friend for the all around. And we just applaud his efforts to defeat Hungary, and he's still going on. And he's maybe the same age you are, or even older, but actually he's a non-stop man who keep going. And it's such an honor to have you here, Ambassador Young.
Thank you very much. And we will never forget the fact that we were able to stand together. Actually, I was in ROTC at Howard University in 1950. And I was scheduled to go to Korea in 1951. And I had broken my arm when I was a 4-year-old in New Orleans, Louisiana. And the sergeant caught me holding the gun like this. And he said, "Young, get the hell out of here." I said, "What's the matter? What did I do, Sarge?" He said, "You can't hold Uncle Sam's rifle that way. Turn your hand over." I said, "It won't turn over." And he said, "Get out of here, you 4F." But most of my classmates went on to Korea, service in Korea. And so actually the first thing I did as mayor of Atlanta in 1982 was visit Daegu, Korea, and we became sister cities. If you find dogwoods all over Daegu, it's because we sent almost thousands of dogwoods from Atlanta, and they brought plants and bonsai from Korea here, and we started a wonderful partnership. Just before I left the mayor's office, I was invited back to Seoul to the Korean Olympics, and it will extend on into the future. I should also say that I'm a pastor, and one of the things of Jesus Christ around the world, in fact, one of the churches, the Myeongsang Presbyterian Church there in Seoul, found out that there had been Ethiopian veterans serving, and that somehow they felt they had not been thanked sufficiently with Korea in their time of need. But the Koreans have never forgotten God's children all over the world, and they are amongst the most serving people and Christian people that I have ever met. To help us, we will be helping to move the world forward and do it peacefully and with the highest technology possible, and with some of the most wonderful people in the world coming together with us. And so we ask God's blessing on our partnership. We ask that peace rain down upon all peoples everywhere, that the hungry might be fed, that the naked might be clothed, that the sick might be healed, and that we learn to live together as brothers and sisters in spite of the difference. In fact, the differences celebrate us. And well, we ought to have a contest. There's a barbecue contest right down the road in Vienna, Georgia, I think. It's called the Big Pig Jig, and that's one of the big celebrations in Georgia. But I don't think they've ever had Korean barbecue there, so I'd like to get my friends from the Korean barbecue community to join us in the Big Pig Jig this summer. God bless you.
One of them died in Korean War, and I was 8 years old. Thank you very much for you coming to Georgia and invest with the enormous amount of investment here. However, you share your precious time together meeting our hero today. It's important. And then Chairman Chair, please come and then later read. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Be seated.
Yes. Ambassador Andrew Young, Senator and generals, honorable Korean War veterans of Georgia, and distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be here in your presence today as we gather on hallowed ground at the footstep of Georgia state capital. In a moment, the solemn reflection and profound gratitude. 71 years ago, young and brave soldiers of America were called to the Republic of Korea to defend the country they never knew and a people they never met. And when the American flag was raised and Georgians heroically answered that call with courage and conviction and a sense of duty. As this beautiful memorial encapsulates 740 Georgians who paid the ultimate sacrifice to preserve, protect, and defend the freedom and democracy in the Republic of Korea. Many more were wounded in action, and we also take time this morning to remember the prisoners of war and those who remained missing in action. But last Friday, I had the honor to be being at the White House on the occasion of U.S.-Korea summit between the President Moon and President Biden. It was a very successful summit and highlighted by the strength of our alliance that has been made ironclad and the linchpin of peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in the Pacific region, due in a large part to the sacrifices you rendered during the Korean War. Earlier in the morning, the President Biden bestowed the Medal of Honor upon the Colonel Pocket, an 8th Army Ranger during the Korean War and the proud son of Columbus, Georgia. It was a wonderful and historic moment to have the President Moon at the ceremony, and it highlighted the unbreakable bond that ties our two nations together, and born in shed blood and sacrifice, and now made a shining example for the world. Along with that, the Republic of Korea as a whole was able to emerge from the ashes of war to the 10th largest economy in the world and transformative, the global hub for the innovation and advanced research and development and cutting-edge technologies and the responsible corporate the social governance. You will see that when you drive the past I-85, where our SK Battery America stands, it is the largest investment in Georgian history, and we at SK are proud to call Georgia home. Once again, to our esteemed Korean War veterans and their family members, thanks for taking the time to be here today. And I'm honored to be in presence. And please know, my own gratitude is mere extension of that of the entire Korean people, one that always remain eternal. Thank you. 감사합니다.
The state of Georgia, Secretary of State Brad Rassenberger, Secretary of State of the state of Georgia, do hereby proclaim Tae-Woo Che as an honorary Georgia citizen. May this outstanding citizen be afforded every courteous as a goodwill ambassador from Georgia in his travels to other states, to nations beyond the borders of the United States of America, or wherever he may hereafter travel or reside. Thank you for your service to our state. Signed, Brad Rassenberger, Secretary of State.
People for coming to honor us, and it is an honor, and we feel it as an honor for what you have done. Can you hear me better? All right, now I want to be sure that you know that we appreciate what you've done. We appreciate all of the military and high-ranking officers that have come to honor us. And what we really are honoring are the 740 that didn't make it. And you look at where you are today. You're the 10th largest economy in the world. And you're talking about automobiles. I can't help but talk about automobiles. You have built a car that has now been classified as the world's best automobile, and that's the Kia Telluride, and I have had one, and I can verify that it is the world's best car. I would like to thank you for selecting commerce and protecting your battery factory in the United States. With that, I'd like to just thank all of our veterans for being here today. I'd like to thank all of you for coming, and Sonny, I thank you for putting this together, and we owe a lot of the Korean veterans here owe a lot to Sonny Park. We also have Dr. Sue, who isn't here, but anyway, thank you for coming.
A little gift to each veteran family. Once you stand and take this, and then staff will present you. You don't have to come up here, but they'll present you a gift. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairman. Little housekeeping here, the 27th July, that as usual, the
Thank you for your service.
went to the Morehouse.
Good.
Listen to Morehouse.
Very good. Tell him hello from me.
Thank you. 수고하셨습니다. 감사합니다. 오케이, 아유,